Low brick. They're in the gate. And they're off. Flat On breaks out very alertly. So does Adventuresome, who's up to take the lead. It's Adventuresome opening up a couple of lengths. Flat On comes away in second, and Smooth Salute is in third on the outside of Act 3. They're followed by Yellow Brick, who settles mid-pack just in front of Maltese Falcon, 2 more to Foreign Influence. And Fast Chad is already a dozen off front-running Adventuresome, who takes them into the clubhouse turn, a length and a half in front of Flat On second. Smooth Salute, a 3 wide third. Act 3 is in fourth. Yellow Brick, fifth, 5 lengths off the lead. Then Maltese Falcon, who's covered up along the rail, a length and a half back to Foreign Influence, and Fast Chad is still at the back. Adventuresome onto the backstretch, opens it up to 2.5. Flat On second, Smooth Salute has to get closer in third. Then Act 3, Yellow Brick inching up outside of him, followed by Foreign Influence. Maltese Falcon in the red is 2 in front of Fast Chad with less than a half mile to go, and Adventuresome to catch. He's a 2-length leader. Act 3 making an early bid along the inside. Flat On between horses, Smooth Salute outside of that pair. Yellow Brick is now about 3.5 off the lead, being worked upon to get closer, a length in front of Foreign Influence. Maltese Falcon still snugly in hand with 5 to make up, starting to make some headway, looking for room. And 4 back to Fast Chad. They're at the top of the stretch, and it's still Adventuresome. Maltese Falcon on the inside, trying to get out of there. In the meantime, Smooth Salute takes the lead. Maltese Falcon on the inside. Adventuresome steadied while backing up. It's Act 3 getting the lead. Maltese Falcon was blocked on the outside. Yellow Brick. It's going to be Act 3 narrowly. Yellow Brick second. Maltese Falcon very unlucky in third. And then it was Smooth Salute, followed by Fast Chad. In the gate. And they're off. Mr. Shivas bounces out quickly, and so does Mr. Suds. And these two have pulled 2 clear of Midnight Love in third. Then Handsome Harry fourth, and Dawson at the back of the field. Mr. Shivas shows the way to the 3/8 pole, chased by Mr. Suds, who's 2 back, now down to a length. And Mr. Suds bears down on Mr. Shivas, 3 more back. Midnight Love closing in on the top pair with a 3 wide bid, a long way to Handsome Harry and Dawson. It's Mr. Shivas at the top of the stretch with a half-length lead on Mr. Suds. 2 more to Midnight Love, 3/16 to go. And Mr. Shivas clinging to a narrow advantage. Mr. Suds confidently handled. Now comes to him past the 8th pole. Mr. Shivas and Mr. Suds. Mr. Shivas, Mr. Suds, a final try. Mr. Shivas holding on. Mr. Shivas and Mr. Suds in a photo finish. Midnight Love about 5 back in third. Up next, race 3, post time 27 minutes. In the gate. And they're off. Toby's Candy emerges with the lead. Queenie's Way along the inside now comes to challenge, and Queenie's Way will be the target. I Love You Too is racing in third on the inside of the Rain Song, and then it's Dallas Alice. Queenie's Way goes past the half-mile pole, leading it by about 2 lengths to Toby's Candy in second. Then the Rain Song, I Love You Too, is at the rail, and Dallas Alice 3 off the lead. Heading to the 3/8 pole, Queenie's Way challenged boldly now by Toby's Candy, who's just a head back second. The Rain Song 3 wide, pushed along a length and a half off them in third. I Love You Too and Dallas Alice. They're coming to the quarter pole. Queenie's Way at the rail. Toby's Candy on the outside, drifting a bit, but Toby's Candy up to take a narrow lead. Queenie's Wave fighting on at the rail. A length and a half, the Rain Song in third, and I Love You Too is trying to get involved late. Final furlong, and the Rain Song now takes off, takes command, and opens up. The Rain Song, pulling clear in the final stages, will win convincingly. The Rain Song reports home almost 4 in front, maybe a little more. Then it was Queenie's Way, I Love You Too, and Toby's Candy. They're in the gate. And they're off. Christie's Tiger broke outward, but did break very alertly. Sweet Heidelberg won from the rail, and Classical Romance, those three line up out of the chute. Ute Your Honor, snugly in hand fourth, and Quora's at the back of a compact field. It's Classical Romance leading the way by about a length. Sweet Heidelberg second, Christie's Tiger. Quora's a little bit keen, moving through on the inside with the green sleeves, 2 lengths off the pacemaker, and Ute Your Honor biding her time at the back. They're heading to the half-mile pole, and Classical Romance shows the way. In second, Sweet Heidelberg, Christie's Tiger still outside of them, and Quora a length and a half off the lead. Ute Your Honor will have to go wide, but she's starting to move up now as Christie's Tiger goes to put some pressure on Classical Romance. It's Classical Romance, 3/4 of a length. Christie's Tiger takes second. Sweet Heidelberg losing ground in between them. Quora ground saving, and Ute Your Honor. Classical Romance hand-ridden to the quarter pole. Quora threatening to run a big race at the rail. These two, 1-2, and then Christie's Tiger. Here's Quora hugging the fence, confidently handled, takes command, and opens up. It's Quora clear by 2. On the outside, Classical Romance is fighting on. These two are dominating. Quora, Classical Romance, Game, and Christie's Tiger on the outside. It will be Quora and Giovanni Franco taking care of business by 2. Classical Romance holds second. Christie's Tiger was third. Macadamia to complete the lineup for the Grade 1 Gamely. And they're off in the Gamely. Queen Goddess and Bellamore bumped a little. School Dance comes through to their inside. It's School Dance, Bellamore, and Queen Goddess right across the course. Via Reggio is only 2 lengths behind. Then Closing Remarks tucked in on the inside of Macadamia, and Quattroel has 6 lengths to make up. School Dance and Bellamore on even terms with a lap to go. Queen Goddess content to track the top pair from third. Then it's Via Reggio, followed by Closing Remarks down on the rail, about 3 lengths off the lead. Macadamia and stretch running Quattroel is at the back. It's School Dance leading the way by about a neck over Bellamore. 2 more lengths. Via Reggio inches up inside Queen Goddess. Queen Goddess maintains the third spot. Closing Remarks, Macadamia side by side, 4 off the lead, and 2 more to Quattroel. The pace has been moderate, heading to the half-mile pole in the Gamely. And it's School Dance, who has been there since the gate opened, leading by a neck to Bellamore second, and now Queen Goddess starts to put some pressure on the top pair third. Via Reggio is at the rail, 2 lengths off the pace in fourth. Macadamia pushed along, Closing Remarks, and Quattroel. Bellamore's School Dance. Bellamore gets her head in front. Here's Queen Goddess, though, and Queen Goddess sprints up and quickly takes the lead at the top of the stretch, putting a length on Bellamore in second. Macadamia on the outside, Via Reggio between them. Quattroel there, an eighth of a mile from home. And it's Queen Goddess with a length lead. Macadamia bearing down, and so is Quattroel within 2.5. Macadamia takes the lead in the final stages, and it's Macadamia and Tiago Pereira to win the Gamely. Quattroel got up for second, Queen Goddess third. Then it was Via Reggio in a photo between Closing Remarks and Bellamore. We're in the gate. And they're off, and True Hood bounces out very nicely. Rayquist has some speed, and Happy Tears in between them up close. Uncle Reg comes through, and Uncle Reg will be the pace setter. Taking the lead from Rayquist, who's second. A length back to True Hood in the clear third. Happy Tears now 4-3 off the pace. Emerald Union is next. Extortion at the back of the field. Half mile to go. Uncle Reg to catch. Leads at a half length to Rayquist second. 2.5 more. True Hood has to get closer third. Emerald Union is at the rail. Happy Tears and Extortion 3 deep. 3 furlongs from home, and Uncle Reg now opens up a length on Rayquist in second. It's 2 more to True Hood, who now has 2.5 to make up, coming toward the quarter pole. Another 3 back to Happy Tears in fourth. They're at the top of the stretch. Rayquist on even terms with Uncle Reg. True Hood has work to do. Top of the lane, Rayquist on the outside, gets the upper hand and pulls away from Uncle Reg. Then it's True Hood 5 back in third, and Happy Tears trying to get into the money as Rayquist jogging home through the stretch. Rayquist runs up the score and wins by 6 or 7. Uncle Reg second, Happy Tears third, then Extortion. Ladies and gentlemen, today's 7th race is the Grade 1. $500,000 guaranteed Shoemaker Mile. Run at 1. Salesman goes in. And they're off in the Shoemaker Mile. Lamplighter Jack came out alertly. So did Flavius, who's up to take the lead. Exalted Il Bellator is racing in between horses. Cabo Spirit comes in from that outside post. It is now 3 wide into the first turn, and Gold Phoenix is down at the rail. De Jour between those two. Hong Kong Harry races inside of Salesman. A couple more back to Irideo, and at the back of the field, it's stretch running Balnikov. Lamplighter Jack sets the pace, tracked by Flavius. A length and a half back in second, and Exalted well spotted third, 3 lengths off the lead. It's a gap of 4 back to Il Bellator, racing inside of Cabo Spirit. That pair followed by Gold Phoenix together with De Jour. Hong Kong Harry and Salesman are right together as well. Then Irideo and 2 more to Balnikov. They have less than a half mile to go in the Grade 1 Shoemaker Mile, and Lamplighter Jack bounding along with a 2.5 length lead. Flavius still races in second, Exalted third. Cabo Spirit racing on the outside of Il Bellator. Then De Jour and Gold Phoenix next to him. Hong Kong Harry looking for racing room in the white blinkers. Salesman, Irideo coming through inside of that pair. And then it's Balnikov. They're at the top of the stretch. And here comes Exalted after Flavius. Exalted, the new leader. Cabo Spirit, De Jour in the center of the course. Irideo running a giant race. And he has to get to Exalted late. Exalted 2-length lead. Irideo, Hong Kong Harry on the far outside. It's Exalted holding on. Exalted is a Grade 1 winner as he takes the Shoemaker Mile. Irideo, Hong Kong Harry, then it was Il Bellator and De Jour. The running time, 1 minute, 34.08 seconds. It's today, goodbye. And they're off in the Hollywood Gold Cup. Defunded came out smoothly. Paroli second in the early going. And Country Grammar comes away with the top flight as well. Kiss Today Goodbye is fourth, but only about a length and a half off the lead. And both Yes This Time and Senor Buscador were crowded at the start and are at the back of the field. Defunded sets the pace, prompted by Paroli. Kiss Today Goodbye much closer than usual, and Country Grammar is fourth, just 2 lengths off the lead. Yes This Time is next, and Keen coming through along the inside, and Senor Buscador has 5 lengths to make up. Juan Hernandez has the favorite Defunded in control, leading the way by a length coming to the 6 furlong pole with Paroli second. At the rail, Yes This Time Kiss Today Goodbye, and Country Grammar is in between rivals, 3 lengths off his stablemate. It's another 2 to Senor Buscador. 5 furlongs from home. And Defunded getting a very nice trip, leading the way by a length. Paroli, Kiss Today Goodbye, and Yes This Time. Country Grammar, 3 lengths off the lead, and another length and a half to Senor Buscador with less than a half mile to go. Defunded leads by a half length to Paroli. Kiss Today Goodbye. They've been 1, 2, 3 throughout. Country Grammar called on by Flavien Prat, fourth, has 3.5 lengths to make up. He's hard ridden. Yes, This Time is losing ground. Senor Buscador has trailed throughout. Defunded and Paroli heads apart with 1/4 mile to go. Paroli running a very big race, and he's posing a test to Defunded at the top of the stretch. Defunded leads by a head, Paroli up alongside. They come to the 8th pole. Defunded maintains a half-length lead. Paroli, Kiss Today Goodbye, then Country Grammar, a 16th to go, and it's Defunded a length. Paroli, game as ever on the outside, but Defunded is too strong, and he takes them all the way in the Hollywood Gold Cup, and Bob Baffert stands alone as the winningest trainer in Hollywood Gold Cup history. Paroli ran a big race in second. In 1965, 66, and 1967. And he became the first. In the gate. And they're off. Rebel Girl is sprinting out for the lead. Ma France has speed. Ultimate High came away smoothly along the inside. And out in the center, here's Lady J, and Lady J up to take the lead. Magic Light is now in the mix as well. And Speed Lane, who hopped at the start, is rushing right into contention with a wide bid as they move into the first turn. It's Lady J in front, Speed Lane intent on getting to the front with 5.5 furlongs to go, and opens up 2. Lady J now second. Then comes Magic Light clearly into third, followed by Glenall fourth, Rebel Girl back to fifth, 6 lengths off the lead. Unfaithful Ways, well spotted at this stage. A length and a half back to Ma France, racing on the inside of Emerald Lake. That pair is followed by Eleuthera, who's going for an early bid, while 3 wide down the backside. Another 2 back to the gray, Ultimate High, who races on the inside of Anisette. And racing outside of that pair is My Favorite Daughter. Around the far turn, and it's Speed Lane, committed, has a 3-length advantage on Lady J, who cuts back into the margin second. Then Rebel Girl together with Magic Light, third and fourth. Eleuthera is on the far outside. Unfaithful Ways. Glenall is in the mix, swinging to the outside for the drive. And from the back of the field, Emerald Lake trying to thread through traffic. They're in the final furlong, and it's Lady J short lead. Unfaithful Ways getting a clear shot. And from the back, here's Anisette. And Anisette with a bold, beautiful move along the inside. Anisette gets up to win. Ultimate High was second. Unfaithful Ways, Lady J and Rebel Girl. Ninth race named for Live and Breathe Horse Racing Group. Gabe Vartanian and his group enjoying a day at the races today. They're in the gate. And they're off. Very even start, and now Brady Boy sprints up to vie for the early lead. Wi-Fi is up close in the early stages. These two are head and head running down the hill, and on the far outside, here's Mastermind. Mastermind now takes the lead. Brady Boy is in second. Down on the inside comes Nero Tulip, who's a joint third and about 2 lengths off the pace. Dancing Rinka races a close-up fourth. Followed at the rail by Augusta Melody in the 5th spot at this stage, and Do It for Andrew races in between horses. Wi-Fi is in that group as well, and a 4 wide subsidized about 5 lengths off the lead. Steadying there was Do It for Andrew, lost some significant ground. as they come toward the quarter pole. At the back of the field, Kid Azteca and Van Cougar. They have a quarter of a mile to go. Chasing Mastermind at the top of the stretch. Nero Tulip trying to split horses. On the outside, Dancing Rinka is running a nice race, and Dancing Rinka up to take the lead. And here's King Apollo. King Apollo has surfaced with a devastating run in the center of the course, and King Apollo takes the lead. At the rail, it's Nero Tulip, and here's Kid Azteca like a freight train. Kid Azteca runs him down to cap off a wonderful day for Juan Hernandez. King Apollo, Van Cougar, and in behind that, there was a battle among Dancing Rinka, Nero Tulip, and Subsidize.
A very good afternoon to one and all, and welcome to Quigley's Corner. I am obviously not Tom Quigley. I am Zoe Cadman in for Tom Quigley, who may have eaten something good, bad, or indifferent to make him unable to be here. My special guest is John Anik from IOA Insurance. Did I get that the right way around?
That's it.
I did. John, tell us a little bit about what you do with IOA Insurance, and thanks so much for stepping in and being here today.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Appreciate it. It's an honor. Hope Mr. Quigley is doing better after whatever's going on.
He'll live.
Yeah,
he'll live.
He will live. So, no, again, so I'm in the insurance industry. So I'm known for insuring racetracks across the country, in specific backstretch workers and jockeys. We've been doing it for well over 2 decades. And we put together a very complex workers' comp model when the industry was in some dire straits on workers' comp. The whole state was. So that has proven to be a very important product and a very civilized product because it covers the backstretch workers properly. So we're proud of it. And more importantly, I love handicapping horses. I love horse racing, and we need to promote this sport. And I have I do a lot of, promotional insurance and, what you would call professional bookmaking nowadays, backed by Lloyd's of London, and hole-in-one insurance, single ticket winners, mystery mutual vouchers, race series bonuses, you name it, we've pretty much insured it.
So if I wanted to have a bet with the 2 flies going up the wall for $1 million, you'd be the guy I would call?
We could do it, but there would be terms and conditions to this, and we'd have to get a yellow pad out, and we'd have to kind of properly analyze the risk. But yes, that's kind of one of the fun things that I do.
So your company will insure, say, $1 million single ticket guarantee that we have here at Santa Anita. How do you go about monitoring it? And we just had a big payoff last Sunday, $40,000, a massive pool bet into the pick six. Do you have your eyes on the screen and paying attention to every little detail?
I do. People that know me know that, I have a fair amount of worriment when these things happen.
I'd say.
Because my reputation's on the line. Lloyd's of London backs us, but they'll quickly take away that pen if it's starting to run up a big tab.
I had one of those pens when I was a kid. It was $10. You got a free bag and free pen from Lloyd's of London.
Well, so you've been to Lloyd's of London.
Absolutely.
Very cool place.
Very cool place indeed. So tell us what goes on, because we saw the pick six on Monday. The Bob Baffert 1-9 shot kicked most of the people out of the pick six. Were you rubbing your hands for glee, or were you a little bit concerned?
Well, so it's interesting because a lot of people, so I understand my world, but the public probably doesn't understand my world. So I see it through a different prism. We're off risk on Monday. So we had, if you'll recall, the $1 million pick six guarantee on Saturday and Sunday. And then it led to a pretty big carryover, which the big players usually like and get into, obviously. So we're on risk on Saturday and Sunday. And or any day that we guarantee the gap. It's a complex algorithm. It's dependent upon field sizes, and it's dependent upon handle. So it's kind of like what I would explain an accordion. So if you squeeze a little bit too much here, then it's probably good for us. If you squeeze a little bit too much out there, it's probably good for us. But you get it just in the middle, and we get a little nervous, and it has been hit. So, we've paid out on these things. We have a positive loss ratio, and which makes us, engaged in coming back. But we love it because, frankly, we have a gentleman named Jack Woodbury that works with me exclusively, and he's been great, and he's been an excellent partner, and he's really a lot of the brains behind it. And I help him, but we get to an ultimate settlement, and it's one of the funner things that I do.
So as a player, we're going to have you handicap the card. What if, say, there was a guarantee and you hit it? You're the guy that writes a check. How does that work?
I don't play on those days. Just because, I just won't play the pick six. I might play the races, but anybody who knows me too, I'm more of a chalk player anyway. I'm not a big long shot guy. I like to look for those mid-value horses. I'm not as much of a wild swinger, so I'm the type of guy that's very unlikely to hit that with the way I play.
So you do workers' comp, you do insurance. All of this is horse-based. How did your love and your passion? You're obviously a passionate guy. How did this start? I gather it started. I'm going to age you right now, and we've just met 50 years ago. This coming weekend with Secretariat.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting story. So my grandfather, I grew up in Brooklyn, and in Bay Ridge, and, it was not uncommon for older men at that time mainly to go to the track. So my grandfather used to take me to Belmont, and that's where I fell in love with horse racing. So, I used to go to the Belmont Stakes, and I would actually kind of put newspapers down with a magic marker and say taken. And a lot of times the older men would tip me. And I was like, this is great. So I had like a little thing going. I don't think Naira would like that anymore, but back in the day that was kind of going on. And, but anyway, just being around the racetrack, I fell in love with it at an early age.
Were you there for Secretariat's big win?
It's a long story. I think I was.
Oh, I've got all day.
Yeah. Well, I think I was. My grandfather I seem to recall being there, but again, it's fuzzy. And you know what? I'm just going to go with the fact that I was there. Yeah. So I've been to the Marlboro Cup and Forgo, and
wow.
My brother was a big Forgo fan. He kind of is a big player with me. We get up to Saratoga every year before Del Mar starts and just sit in the backyard and handicap horses and get away from my corporate life. And I just love being a player when I can escape from the insurance world.
I'll meet you there at Saratoga.
You're welcome. Everybody comes out.
I'll be there with bells on. I will be there with bells on. We'll
have Guinness in a little special, the new Guinness with the coffee. I like that.
The Guinness with the coffee. Just bring me something in a green bottle.
We always have Guinness, and we always are in the backyard. Pete Rotondo is a little bit further back from there. You probably know Pete.
I know Pete.
And that's my style.
I'll be there with bells on. All right. We'll have a little bit more discussion about him buying me Heineken for Saratoga. But right now, let's get to Frank Miramati for today's changes.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park. The track is fast and the turf is firm. Rail on the turf at 30 feet. Here are the early changes. In the first, number 5, California Bay will carry 1 pound over, and 7, Silver and Black, 2 pounds over. There is a super high 5 carryover from last week of $19,007. Good wagering opportunity with a 7-horse field and a $19,000 carryover in the super high 5. Race 2. No changes. No changes in the third. The Rainbow Pick 6 starts with the 4th today. It is a fresh pool, overweights, 2 Montana plus 2, 4 Stand for Malibu plus 1. In the 5th, the program scratch of 2, Square Fun. 3, Unkept Secret, 1 pound over. Race 6 starts the late pick 4. No changes. Turning to the 7th. No changes. 8th race begins the golden hour pick 4, no high 5 wagering. Scratch 5, Whoa Buddy. Scratch 7, JT's Watch, 5 and 7 out of the 8th. And the 9th starts the golden hour double. No changes. Enjoy your day at Santa Anita Park. It's free admission Friday. Post time for the first at 58 minutes at 1 p.m. We have $3 beers and $5 margaritas all day today. Let's go back to Quigley's Corner in the studio. Zoe Cadman filling in today. Her special guest is John Anik.
Zoe Cadman alongside my special guest, John Anik. If only we could have cracked a Guinness and a Heineken right now. Perhaps Brian can go and get some and make this a whole lot more interesting.
Exactly. That would be good. Anybody that knows me knows that there's usually a Guinness waiting somewhere after work's done.
And I love that. We're going to get on just fine. Okay, let's take a look at race number 1. It's a maiden special weight. This is state bred maiden special weight, going a mile on the turf with the rails at 30 feet. And John, my first question to you is, how much does it alter your handicapping with the rails out at 30 feet? Because I know there was a horse that Jeff Mullins had that said he hated running on a Friday and they always use a race on a Friday. And I'm like, why is that? It's like, because the rails are always at 30 feet.
You know, when I'm really handicapping and I have the time, I pay attention to that. But I really lean on people that are really paying attention to that to just kind of throw it into my fray. But, you know, when I was a kid or when I had more time on my hands, I paid more attention to those things. I'm kind of more of a lazy handicapper when it comes to that stuff. But when I'm at Del Mar, as a lot of people see me, I'll ask somebody like Quigley or yourself or somebody that I think knows their stuff, and then I kind of factor that in.
So these are your picks for race number 1, 3, and 5. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Correct. Johnny Paycheck on top, and you obviously must have done your handicapping because the rails are out and this horse has got speed.
Well, it's ironic because I like maiden special races, and I like looking at the formulator and looking at the lineage and looking at offspring and factoring that in. I'm big on maiden special races, and I'm also big on Calbreds.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, my friend Doug Burge from the CTBA reminds me to pay special attention to the Calbreds, so I do. And I really like Johnny Paycheck. I looked at the last race. That was sometimes they over exaggerate the stumbles.
Absolutely.
And you have to look at that. So anybody back home, that's, if you get the formulator and look at that, it really does make a difference, just to make sure that you agree with that it was a really bad stumble. And that was a bad stumble.
It was a bad one. And more often than not, it's not. And you can tell the people that have read the running lines as opposed to watching the races?
Well, and you know it just from riding.
Yeah.
And that's a different perspective, obviously. But, I really like Johnny Paycheck in here. I think he is the only speed. I'd encourage Mr. Vasquez, who I really like, Ramon, to just go to the lead and just hold on, because I do think that he should be long gone.
Is this your best bet of the day?
It is.
Race number 1, Johnny Paycheck, and you back him up with the 5, California Bay. Now, I like the 5 in here, purely off his last race. I actually watched a replay this morning because it said step slow, bobbled, and it wasn't really that bad as far as I was concerned.
No, see, there's the example. I think his was not as bad, and I agree with you there. And, going back to Johnny Paycheck, he is a half brother to Enola Gray, and he's a half brother to another monster that Nick had, Alice Marble.
Yeah, let me write that down. I've got that.
There's an upside there.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that Phil is just kind of knows he's got something a little bit better than even his form indicates. But going back to California Bay, he's a half brother to Tamarindo, who was a nice horse, and Ward and Jerry. So, not as good as the other two, but still a nice broodmare.
But definitely stretching out and going 2 turns. He galloped out in front, and I really pay no credence to that because I'm like, the wire's there. Some horses have done their running and they're done, but he did gallop out a long way in front. And I think Tiago Pereira is one of those guys, when he's in form, he's on fire.
I like Tiago.
Yeah.
And he just scares me a little bit, so I would back him up. But, I'm very strong on Johnny.
Okay, race number 2. $20,000 claimers going 6 furlongs on the main track. This for fillies and mares. John, how do you see this race?
Well, let's see here. So we went with
1 and 4.
We went with the 1 and 4.
Henny's Crazy Train alongside.
Love the name, Henny's Crazy Train, after Ozzy Osbourne. And
oh, really?
Yeah, that's a fun song.
You're aging yourself again. I don't know that song.
It's like a psych song.
Is it really?
Like Raiders games, they play Crazy Train.
Really?
Ozzy.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yeah, you'll remember it. Everybody out there kind of might remember that one. But off the claim to Tim McKenna, I think he's an underrated trainer. I think he knows what he's doing. You got Juan coming back on here, and I think he has the class. Frankly, you look at these others, and he's competing at a higher level, and he's just showing some nice figures. And he just, the rail scares me a little bit, but Juan definitely knows what he's doing. And to me, he kind of stands out. So I think he's a pretty solid play.
Would that be something you pay attention with, leading riders, riding for a guy shipping down from up north, Tim McKenna? He's a very good horseman. Yeah,
I think I like to look for the underrated guys, the obvious guys that are big names. I try to stay away from them from a value perspective. They obviously know what they're doing, but I try to stay away from the bigger names and look for those more obscure names. And he's a good one. I know he knows how to train a horse, that's for sure. So and I'm also a class handicapper. So I go by lineage, I go by class. What was the phrase that Charlie Whittingham said, time only matters in jail. So I'm kind of one of those guys.
Henny's Crazy Train, and our producer Brian was just playing me Henny's Crazy Train in my ear, and I know the song. Now I know the song. It's fabulous. Okay, well, I might have to put that one back in. Henny's Crazy Train. You also use the 4 in here, and that is Flat Out Joy for Chuck Treese. 4th beaten, 5.5 lengths for 32,000. Drops down once more. Talk me on to Flat Out Joy, because she's not on my radar.
Well, again, similar story. She's running at a higher level. She's running flatter. Kyle Frey sticks with her. Again, more of an obscure trainer that doesn't have as much of a high percentage. I know he's over at Los Al, but his figures work here. I think he could fill out the exacta over the other two that I think are just cheaper. So for value, I like him underneath.
What about the 3? She's a girly girl. Do you like her at all? Because I like her. Kuora, who beat her last time out, came back to win just last weekend. She's in for 20. First time in for a tag for a while.
Yeah, I mean, that was my 3rd. That was the horse that I used 3rd.
Okay.
Scares me a little bit, but I like the fact that one's in this race, because I think it's going to, beef up my odds. So you gotta take a stance one way or the other. So, in the mix, but I like the fact that horse is in there, because I think it'll take more money.
Race number 2, John Anik goes 1-4. John Anik is my guest today on Quigley's Corner. Let's move on and go to race number 3. A mile on the grass, an optional 50. Kind of for a mile, rails again at 30 feet. Your top pick in here is the one, Time to Party, who wins, loses, wins, loses, wins. It's her time to win, right?
Well, I like that pattern as well. You know, you got Jersey Joe Bravo back. I'm educated in New Jersey, went to Rider College.
Oh, really?
So, you know, Joe Bravo, you know, is always somebody that I have a lot of respect for on the turf course. Anybody that doesn't is out of their mind. I mean, that guy knows exactly what he's doing on any turf course.
Is it just because he finds the wire, or he's just all saving ground? It seems like Joe's always very relaxed.
Exactly. I don't know. Joe's just kind of smooth as silk. So whatever he's doing, I feel confident when he's on a horse on the turf. But more importantly than that, I think that he just, again, he exudes class. He just has a pattern that I like. He was over his head when he ran at Churchill last time, so I can forgive that. He actually didn't even run that bad. So
no, not at all.
You know, he just seems like, again, a nice class play. Nothing, you know, maybe you get about 2-1 or so, and, you know, not ultra chalk, but I think value. Anytime you can somewhat triple your money on something that has a better than average chance, I'm okay with that.
How important is back class when we're handicapping races like this? Is it something that you look back at, or does a drop alarm you? Like, what do you like to look at?
It kind of is you know, it's no different than being around a crap stable. If anybody's been playing craps, you know,
fabulous.
You know, you just get a feel and you go with it. And that's the beautiful part about gambling. You know what I mean? Don't bet over your head.
Yeah.
And just kind of go with your instincts. Don't listen to other people. Just formulate your own opinion. And, you know, if you have some respect for people like yourself or me, throw it into your own mix, but don't change your mind because somebody's kind of in your ear. Just, you know, just maybe take it under advice. But I don't like to hear too much when I'm handicapping. I just like to keep it in my own zone.
Follow your arrow. That's Casey Musgrave's one, in case you didn't know that. All right. You also like the 3 in here. Fantastic for trainer Peter Urton. Really woke up last time out under the Tory, the last 2 times. Gets Rispoli today for the first time. Urton's on fire.
Yeah, I mean, you have to pay attention to that 32%. That sticks out. That's a legit percentage. And obviously the horse is in form, not the same class level as Time to Party, but you know, definitely in form is a thing, and he certainly does have some class, so he's right in the mix, but I would put him underneath.
What do you think? Do you look for certain jockeys on the grass, like Rispoli, you mentioned, Bravo? Does that go into your handicapping?
More so on the grass, I think, myself. I always respect jockeys' opinions. I'm friends with quite a few jockeys. We take care of the jockeys. That's my profession. But, you know, it on the grass, you know, you definitely want to bump a horse up that with a Joe Bravo, you know, Rispoli, you know, Flavian Pratt, you know, but again, you got to pay for them. So you're taking it in the price. So it's a yin and yang, and it's a gut.
Your company insures the jockeys via workers' comp. So you're familiar with an awful lot of jockeys in the whole country, and workers' comp is fantastic for jockeys. Just talk briefly on what went into that, because myself as a former jockey, I got hurt pretty bad 20 years ago. And there wasn't such coverage for the likes of me. It was like the jocks had a whip round in the jock room, and that would like pay for you for your couple of months off. But what's led to the workers' comp being so prominent and so good for the jockeys here? Because a lot of people are under the illusion that jockeys are millionaires and they make all this money, when we know that 80% of them are just making as much as someone galloping horses in the morning.
Yeah, it's first of all, I've got the greatest team in the world. I've got Sarah Presmaleski and Dilcia Gueron that handle the claims and administrate things. I do a lot of the negotiations and keep an eye on the market and make sure that the loss ratios are okay, and it's a complex thing. But the most important thing is taking care of them. You take care of a claimant and you make sure that they're treated fairly, and we help them try to get into medical appointments and navigate the system, which is harder than ever.
Yeah, very hard.
It's very hard. So answering your question on workers' comp, there's only 4 states, California, New York, New Jersey, and Maryland, that have workers' comp benefits, and that's a state law. So there's no way around it. And that's much more civilized. And the other states, we have a hybrid product of workers' comp called accident and health insurance, and we insure the jockeys up to $1 million. Knock on wood, we even work with all the carriers when circumstances like that happen, and we're able to kind of keep those, their families, not worrying about the bills. So we work closely also with the Permanently Disabled Jockeys Fund. I think I've been responsible for over $250,000 in donations through efforts on that. And it's all about giving back and making sure that, that they're covered correctly, and we need to do more on it, frankly. So it's something we're working on all the time.
And we certainly do. And we definitely, as a former jockey, and for all the jockeys out there, we thank you for that. Now I'm going to put you on the spot. Who is the most underrated jockey in North America? It can be here, it can be anywhere.
Underrated jockey in North America, it's a tough question. I mean, I like Tiago Pereira. I mean,
I like that.
I just see that guy just trying, always has the right attitude. I don't know him as well as I know some of the other jockeys.
Let him cook for you. He's a fantastic cook.
Well, he's got a date. I like to eat, so that's no problem. But yeah, I mean, and just those unsung heroes, those guys that are a little bit off the beaten path, are the ones that I look for.
Okay, let's move on. Race number 4, maiden 50. This actually starts the pick 6 in here, John. You see this race as easy as 2-4, Montana on top for trainer Bob Hess. But if we're playing the pick 6, realistically, how many do we need to move forward?
This would be, so I actually saw this card as getting harder and harder as it went. I don't know if it was because it was getting later and later into the night as I was handicapping. But
how many Guinness did you have?
It was more red wine last night.
Oh, okay, yeah, mixing it up.
Yeah, I was just doing a little red wine as I handicapped. And, this is somewhat of an open race. I gave the nod to Montana. The 4 caught my attention, Stan from Malibu, as potentially a wise guy type of horse. Carla does a great job with horses. And I normally don't like horses switching from the turf to the dirt, but it's only had 3 starts. They've bet this horse a fair amount. And it just, again, that whole feel, it just looks like the type of horse that I just don't want to get burned with. So I'm a little afraid of the 4, but the 1, to me, Nick Alexander, and I love the names of his horses. I was going to comment on that too.
Tom Horn.
I'm an historian, so I look all that stuff up on Wikipedia.
So fill me in, make me knowledgeable.
Story. He's like some dude from some old Western dude from the late 1800s, and he got himself in trouble, and I don't know. He
Moonshine.
He was a badass. All of Nick's horses today were named after badasses. Am I allowed to say that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
So,
say whatever you want.
Yeah. So anyway, Tom Horn was a badass, and more importantly, Grayson and Nick Alexander. I mean, the guy just dominates out here, and he just looks like he has a pattern that you gotta be a little bit afraid of. But but Montana was my choice. But I'm a little bit worried about the 1 as well. So I'd use all 3 of those.
2 for 1. I'm going to throw 1 in there. And we mentioned Works and XBTV. This horse has a terrific work on XBTV. I like Country Boy in here for Hall of Famer Neil Drysdale. I bet him in his first start, but then I'm looking at him when he's walking over. I'm like, he's by Sharp Azteca out of a Fusaichi Pegasus mare. Does anything in there scream turf? Not one little bit screams turf. They ran him again. They ran him 6.5. They ran him on. Nothing. He finally drops in class. He finally gets on dirt. He gets a very underrated rider in Fresu aboard for the very first time. He gets an outside draw. I am loving Country Boy.
I hear you. That's where, the turf angle of it. I mean, there's a little turf in it on the mare side. The mare kind of ran on the turf pretty well. I definitely paid attention to the horse, Neil Drysdale. You can't argue that. So, I mean, if I was going deeper on my ticket, I would definitely throw the 6 in. But you got to cut somewhere, because otherwise it starts getting a little expensive.
Oh, no, I went all. I'm not getting knocked out in the first leg. I'm not getting knocked out in the last. I've got 2 singles.
I like to have multiple tickets. If I hit it, I like to hit it good.
Okay.
So I have a different methodology on that. If I go in, if I hit, I like to be rewarded. So I kind of go with multiple
I
tickets.
just want to hit one. I've never hit a pick six. I mean, I just want to hit one.
Oh, well, we got to hit it today.
Right.
This is pretty much the thing.
It's going to pay. I don't know what it's going to pay.
We'll hit it today.
Okay, we'll hit it today. Let's move on. Race number 5 is 6 furlongs on the turf, a maiden 62.50. This for the fillies going 6 furlongs. You said you like to bet maiden special weight events. How about this kind of event?
Yeah, this is the perfect name with the 3 with Unkept Secret. You know, I mean, claimed by more of an obscure trainer in Paula Capastro, definitely capable and coming in from Churchill, first time Lasix, has a you know, a decent pedigree. The mare was, you know, ran in the 80s and 90s buyer figure wise and was pretty well placed. The progeny is not bad. She's produced a few things.
So that's something that you definitely look at a lot, the brothers and sisters. I mean, I've got a twin brother and he's not up to much really. He's, you know, 6 foot tall and good looking, but that's about as far as it goes.
Yeah, he's got something for him. You know, so yeah, no, I'm the youngest of 5, so my brothers give me a hard time. One of my brothers was the chief of police of the Bronx. And
good guy to know.
Yeah, my other brother is a huge handicapper that I go to Saratoga with. So lineage means a lot. My older brother Bobby taught me how to handicap, so I owe a lot to him, or maybe I don't. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, lineage. It's also something that people aren't doing as much. So I think that there's a little bit of an edge there. I'm always looking for an edge.
I'm right with you. I'm absolutely right with you.
If the public sees it, I try to zig when they're zagging. So if they're, you know, I lean more heavy on lineage, and I'll forgive a few races if the horse has some decent breeding.
Especially win early pedigrees. Okay, so you like the 3 Unkept Secret and also the 1 Free and Humble, this 3-year-old filly by Free Drop Billy, dropping in for a tag for the very first time for trainer Peter Miller.
Yeah, if I was just going on form, I'd go with the 1. But because he's had a race over the track, you can't ignore that last race. That's a nice race, nice figure. Breaking from the rail is not as good. I believe I'm never big on any horse breaking from the rail. It just freaks me out. But, you know, he definitely is a horse that figures more from a figure perspective. But I think the 3 is more the wise guy horse. And I sometimes like to be a wise guy, so it's all good.
I'm going to throw the 5 Encolpion in for trainer Peter Urton. Do you know what an Encolpion is?
Mm-mm.
It's a medallion that the bishops wear. So this filly has been working very, very well. She faced Older in her debut. That was last year. She's been off a year. Peter Urton is winning lights out. Drayden Van Dyke steps back aboard. He was aboard her for her first and only start. And you can see her works on XBTV. She has been working lights out on XBTV. Will be in Saratoga all summer long. So I encourage you, John, to look at some of the works that we'll be showing, because you like maiden races, and that is the #1 place to bet on maidens.
I definitely will, and I know that that's a feature that you guys have that I think everybody should be paying more attention to. And you caught my attention there, so he's immediately on my ticket. And I love Drayden Van Dyke. He hit me for a hole-in-one. He got a hole-in-one.
Oh, he did, yes.
Yeah, hit me for a gator. You know? So, but I still like Drayden. That guy's cool as ice. He's been a little cold lately, but I think he'll just come right back in. That guy definitely has something special, so I think he'll just. I like Drayden.
All right, we're including Encolpion in race number 5. Let's move on. Race number 6, $20,000 claimers. Non-winners at 3 life, going 6.5 furlongs. John, you see this race 4-6 Charlotte Harbor on top of Everly's Girl. You said you like chalk. You're not wrong.
Yeah, it's what a couple of my friends call me the chalk eating weasel once in a while, but it's all right. I can wear it. I just have a little bit of chalk on my lips.
Well, it's all over your head.
You know, I just put a little chalk over there, and it's all good. But yeah, the hair goes with the whole chalk eating weasel look. Well, I mean, he just figures. I mean, he just stands out. Vladimir Serin knows what he's doing. You know, a poker player. It just looks like kind of like one of those things that Vladimir just pops with. So Juan's back on. That one just, again, it's a cheaper race. I'm kind of like the stakes races a little bit more. So I don't like to kind of, you know, take the rubber bands out on 20,000 claimers, but he stands out form-wise.
I like Charlotte Harbour in there as well, back in for a tag. The last time she was in for a tag, she won by 6 1/4 lengths. Let's move on to race number 7, a start of 50 with a purse of 38,000, going 6.5 furlongs on the turf course. When you see 6.5 furlongs, do you have to look twice and re-handicap flat or down the hill?
Yeah, I mean, it's confusing, obviously, with what happened with the hill. So I'm not as well versed on 6.5 furlongs at Santa Anita as I used to be with the old hill.
On the flat, yeah.
Yeah, so it's also like 5.5, 5 furlong turf is not my thing. I try to like scale it back on those races. They seem a lot more random.
That's an all race to me. You get a lot of Los Al shippers coming over and winning those.
Yeah, so I go kind of lightly with respect to that stuff. But where did I land here?
6-2. She's got away for trainer. Oh, Peter. Oh, 5-2. Your favorite price.
Yeah, I mean, this is getting to be a chalk parade, as anybody knows me. But I also like a horse who kind of makes that move and flattens out. That's another pattern. Anybody who makes a mid-race move, I think, next time they usually come back and finish it off. Not always, obviously, but I like that mid-race move. I did look at that race, and, he was kind of just not in the perfect position. So, again, what are you going to do when the horse is the favorite? But, he looks like the legitimate favorite, and you got Peter Urton. It just, I couldn't get too creative in there. I did get creative in the last race with the shipper. So
what do you make of the 8 Gritty Girl in there? Because this is a filly I've been following for quite some time. She's a very headstrong filly. I love the change to Berrios in her last, because even though she was on the lead, she was relaxed. It was like she took a breath, and she might just be better this year than she was last year.
I liked Berrios when he was more of a secret at Delmar last year. Now he's not a secret. So,
no secret at all.
But yeah, absolutely. But the only thing that worries me a little bit there is, did he make too easy of a lead? It's only a 46 half last time. Got a fairly easy lead, and he held on. Let's see him do it with a little pressure. But that's the key.
All right, race number 8, $26,000 purse, 6 furlongs on the main track. John, you see this race as easy as 6-2. That is 6 on the outside. My Man Bags, 8-5 on the morning line with JJ Hernandez for trainer Mark Lapp.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of speed of speed situations,
yes.
And that always scares you, because you really are relying on who's going to be the speed of the speed. But a lot of times I believe horses sulk when they can't get to the lead. So you look for a nice bomb underneath sometimes when you get too much pace in a race. But I do think the 6 can clear. Again, go into that rail. I think outside speed makes a bigger difference if you can be drawn outside of it. And it does look like there are some races where this gelding has been able to rate. That's key. So he could either go to the lead or rate, breaking from the perfect post. Again, Juan Hernandez, not by any design, but apparently I'm a big Juan Hernandez fan today. So he better kind of come through today. But he does look like he stands out. So again, it's a chalk though. So,
well, you back him up with Gold Crusher.
Yeah.
Blinkers off, Bug Boy on for Manny Ortiz. This is a horse who I thought was extremely interesting with the blinkers off angle and the fact he's got so much speed. And I like the way Al Segura rides. Oh yeah. I mean, I've been paying attention to all the new names, and obviously, what is it? Fresu, and how do you pronounce this one? Al Segura, Abdul. He flies a plane too, in case you need a ride anywhere.
I get very familiar with them when they come back into Delmar. That's when I really get into the mode. But I've been watching on TV, and I definitely see that as a nice little wise guy horse that you got to use underneath, and potentially even back it up with the 2 and the 6. Okay, John, let's delve into race number 9, Cardiff for a 1.1 miles on the grass. This is an optional 50. Rails are at 30 feet. Let's dive into this. You have 2-5 on your ticket, Talers for Bob Hess, and also the 5:34 coupe for George Papapadromo. Is that going to be enough in this last race? I think so. Again, this is a DeSormo play for me. And Bob Hess is, very loyal with Kent, and he's starting to ride really, really well again. That guy knows turf, just like Joe Bravo. I went back and forth and looked at this race quite a bit, and I kept landing back on Kenton here with Bob Hess's horse Talus. Just looks like, again, lacked room. I looked at that race intensely. I think if you ran the race again, I think he would have outfinished, so I'm told. So that's where I landed.
Did you think he got into that much trouble?
You know,
there was a loose horse in the race that didn't affect him.
So I had to watch it like 2 to 3 times to make that determination. Excuse me. But yeah, I think I lean towards the fact that Kent was just a tad indecisive in there. And we all know that guy can, when he's got ice through his veins, and when he's riding right, it's a beautiful thing. And I just kind of, again, that craps feel, I see DeSormo sailing there.
All right, John. Well, John Anik, my guest for today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Next time we'll have some Guinness, because you sound like you're getting a little bit thirsty.
I think we're going to have to do that. That's why I'm parched.
Well, yeah, we're all parched.
It's almost, what is it? It's 3:30 Eastern time.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, it's 3:30.
All right, let's go. Zoe Cadman standing in for TQ. Mr. John Anik, good luck at today's races.
Thanks.
Cheers, John.
Please rise for our national anthem. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park. The track is fast, the turf is firm, and the rail out on the turf is 30 feet today.